Okay. All right, 60 frames a second. Yeah. Okay, good. Just wanting to make sure I'm trying. I really want this multi-stream thing to work. I'm working it out through Twitch and OBS on there. Um, I will post this up in. So this is the YouTube channel link apparently. Oh, encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or a faster encoding agent because I suck. Well, I know what I need to do. Let me turn that off. Okay, one more time. There we go. Let's see. Turn off the preview seems to help a little bit. So I'm checking to see if I can go back. Okay. Oh, man, I hate this shit. Maybe my computer's not fast enough. I don't know. I only have 32 cores and a nice fat 11, 12 gigabit connection. So, hello everyone. Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's the 10th of January, 2023, and I'm sitting here, not surprised. I actually, hey, Beta Wolf, what's up? How's work going, man? How's work going? You doing okay? You're almost there a month now, yeah? One second. It says it's just me, but I can't. I want to see the freaking video. I don't want to see that. Okay, let's. There we go. Try that. There we go. Okay. Oh, yay. Ah, okay. So it's working. Okay, excellent. Kind of stressed about. Oh, well, I appreciate that. I'd imagine the things you're moving and everything is still causing you some issues. So yeah, that's if we were renting this place out up here in Seattle, I'd be like, I know a guy who needs a house, but we're about to get rid of this spot and we're gonna move to San Diego. So last couple of weeks for me has been trying to consolidate and get rid of a bunch of stuff. Pretty much been flea bay around here. I just got rid of 4 Raspberry Pis. If well, I mean, it could be worse being where you're stuck. I mean, you're stuck in in a town or in city, so it could be much worse. You could be stuck out in the middle of nowhere. So um, once CPO Parker. Oh wait, this one. Oh, okay, that's different. I'm gonna turn that off. Once CPO Parker, sends me my money, I got a Intel NUC that he's gonna get. But yeah, I sent some audio equipment out to a couple of folks. We had CSEC East last week. That was fun. Met a handful of folks up in Bellevue there at the food court, and got to hang out. And our good friend Ted Walt, of course, one of the gentlemen whose name escapes me right now. But yeah, you're not in the voice chat. Oh man, do you have any more NUCs? I'm thinking of buying one for a lab. No, I don't actually like the NUC that I have. So Beta Wolf, let me ask you a question. How much are you expecting to spend for a NUC? And what do you want to do with it, right? Let me turn off preview and go to camera browser. Okay, and then I have to do the thing where I tell it what I want to actually show. Oh, there I am. I'm pretty. Look at me. Oh, that's me again. I'm pretty. So you came to InfoSec Campout. Yeah, what do you need, dude? $500 to $700. Okay, let me show you something. These little boxes are excellent. I bought one on July 12th. It is awesome. It'll run Windows 10, and I know that because I had to. That's how I got Windows 10 on this box. Look, brah. See? Look. See, I'm going to go back to my camera. I'm going to go back. Oh, I'm overloaded. Okay. Let me turn off the. So this is it. I mean, it's, you know, um, here's my Pixel 6. So this is, rough size deal, It'll sit right on your desk and it's got Wi-Fi. I mean, you can't see it sitting on my desk right now, but no, it's nice. It's not like a 1U server, bro. So Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM. It's got Wi-Fi access card in it. $116, and it's better than a Raspberry Pi, and it's better than a fucking NUC. Apologize to the children out there me using the F words, but yeah, I had nothing but trouble with my Pis. I had nothing but trouble with the NUC. I was upfront about the NUC and I was upfront about the Pi. I run Raspis for my DNS and stuff. It wouldn't even tell you when it died. So yes, grab a few. It even has an SSD in it, right? Super small form factor. It even has a where is that? You can buy an adapter for it so that you can see, this is the demos where they don't work. So this is a Visa mount, so you can mount it on the back of your monitor. Or, with the bracket holes, you could just mount it on a wall. It's not that heavy. So, again, $116. It'll run Ubuntu. It'll run Windows 10, which Windows 10 will last another couple years. The reason I know that it will run Windows 10 is because my big server has some memory issues. I don't know why. Until this fails or I get a blue screen, But I actually had to pop the SSD inside of this. Inside of this server, this machine, and install Windows 10, then take the SSD out, pop it into my server so that I could run things. I actually was using a super old version of Windows 10 that wouldn't update. So I actually put my SSD in here, installed Windows 10 on it, ran all the updates and everything, then put it into the server over there. Works a treat, no problems. And it's nice. So see, here's the brackety bits for it. You get some wall mounting rack, brackets and all kinds of things. So, and it's $116. You're not going to be playing games on it. It'll run Docker. You can actually upgrade it. The one I have here only has 1 bay in it used, so I think it'll go up to 16 gigs. Yeah. Yes, absolutely, IT professional. Yeah. I would not do this. Knowing what I know now, I probably would not have bought my piece of shit refurbished server over there, but I'm going to limp along on that one until we move, and then I may get rid of that Dell and get a decent sized gaming PC. The one thing I have found out with streaming PCs and gaming PCs is apparently an i5 is enough. You just need a big fat graphics card. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, they're all over the place. These are really small, really tiny form factors. Here's another one. I'm sure it's a similar size. If you don't like HP, you can just cover it up with a Post-it note or something. But 8 gigs, there are so many small form factors out there that are arguably better and cheaper than a NUC. So, let me see. Where's my wish lists? I'm not looking for anything here, but let me see. Oh, here it is. So this is what I was looking for. I didn't want to spend, a ton of money, but it's a Core i5, has an 8 gig, graphics card in it, which right now this one's running at like, I don't know what this one is on my Windows 10 box, which actually running Windows 10 on this server is better than running Windows 11 because it's super quiet right now. Windows 11, it could not manage performance. So it's running at 16% 30C. So it's running at about 86 degrees. And the 32 cores that are in this Xeon that I'm running right now are running at about 8%. So, I don't even need, the i5 is probably enough. If I wanted to spend another $1,000, I could get an i7, which would make it a little easier. But yeah, you just need a fat graphics card for streaming. So this would work. Yeah, I saw Ironside Computers. Cyber Powers PC was the other site that people suggested using. Obviously, once you, oh, well, here's an i7 with a 12 gig 3060. Oh, hello, hello. Hi, how are you? Aren't you pretty? Ooh. Oh, sorry, my bad. Um, damn, that is pretty sweet, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Anyway, um, but yeah, so I mean, I had a lot of issues with my server over there. I wouldn't do that again, but yeah, this has been a workhorse. This Lenovo box, it's worked really well. I need to plug it back in and put Podman and other things back on it. Beta Wolf, I do apologize for the Podman thing during my Windows 11 days on this box. It wasn't Podman, I think, that caused the blue screens of death. I think it was probably a memory issue, which I think is inherently wrong, a problem with the system itself. So I do apologize for making it out like putting Podman on my box screwed the pooch. So yeah, so yeah, well, it's been a couple of weird moments, which is why I took Windows 11 off the box. One, I wasn't supposed to be technically running Windows 11 on that box, even though this box is more than qualified to be able to run it, minus a TPM. Um, yeah, so yeah. So I've got a couple things. There's some news. We're going to do some Golang. I want to do some Golang because I want to keep to that. I want to do a regular bunch of stuff on that. And for those of you who are looking, yes, I need a can opener. I bought my wife one of the ones that nicely takes off the lid, but unfortunately, it doesn't allow it to drain very well or something with that design. So she wants a more typical, like saws the top off and leaves you a nice bit there. So so I've been learning a few things. Let me okay, make sure where's my Visual Studio Code at? There it is. Hello. Close that. So I took all of the stuff from our Hello World. There we go. We went through a handful of lessons in Go. So Beta Wolf, I actually started them last Friday. We're going to be, thank you for mentioning the book. Let me pull that book up. You can download the book for free. Where did I put that in the programming thing? Yes. There it is. Copy link. Doink. And then doink. Yes. Go boot camp, everything you need to know to get started with Go. That is another way of doing it. I've heard a lot of good things about W3 schools. I mean, they have a ton of stuff in here. So we're going to go through some of these things, and then, we may be able to branch out and use some of the other bits there. But so I think we made it down to Constance on this. And, I've got make sure everything's all good there. Okay, everybody can see my screen. I'm turning the preview off because I have a feeling it's overloading the encoder, having 3 different things, including the YouTube doing its bit. So I'm trying to organize my screen here. All right. So we'll get to the Go stuff in a minute. Let me hide the VS Code stuff. I was on Mastodon today, and somebody had mentioned, curious to hear. There was some privacy stuff that came up. I've got some news articles up here about Siemens having some vulnerabilities in some programmable logic circuits, PLCs, which kind of a bad thing. I believe similar vulnerabilities is what caused Stuxnet back in 2010. They're not patching those. But this one got me. This person, Aaron Ross Powell, who also does a podcast. I don't know what currently reimagining liberty. It's some kind of, he's a free thinker or something like that. Apparently he just found out about this child monitoring app called Bark. Now, full disclosure, I'm probably under some NDA stuff because I believe some work may have been done with this at my previous job with some parts of this. So I can't talk about all of it. I'm just going to talk about children monitoring apps in generic terms, because there's no shortage of them, right? You have Bark, you have NSO Group, you have stalkerware. If you say that all three of those aren't exactly the same, you're wrong, because they are. NSO Group, Pegasus, whatever, there's no difference, in my opinion, between parents who feel entitled to stalk their children and NSO Group who use stalkerware or apps on phones to, find blackmail on people. So, right, it's just reskinned. Exactly, Beta Wolf. So Bark works. See, it's all happy and it's like, oh, protect your children online or whatever. Yeah, no. So I am a small hypocrite, and I will tell you in a minute why, but I want to go through how Bark works, and I'm not giving you anything that you can't find here on this website. It monitors texts, emails, YouTube, and 30 apps and social platforms for signs of issues like cyberbullying, sexual assault, online predators, depression, suicidal ideation, threats of violence, and more. I guess I should put a content warning on some of this stuff. If you've had to deal with any of that stuff, I do apologize. But there are apps out there that does this kind of shit. So, if you replace kid with spouse or significant other, there's no difference here. Bark can be installed on those systems just as much. Yeah, Life 360. Yeah. Okay. So they, basically you log in. I don't think it uses things like OAuth flows. I think you physically, well, one, you wrench the passwords away from your children. You make them put this app on their phone, log in through the Bark app to these sites. So I don't know how they're storing those passwords. I doubt they're using OAuth flows or something like that might actually be more secure. This runs quietly in the background in search of issues that might indicate something is wrong in your child's online world. Now, the one thing they also didn't say is, oh yeah, in addition to this other stuff, it's also going to tell you, maybe you want to know if your child is, doesn't feel comfortable, telling you that they're, not straight, or that they are, seeing somebody that you don't like or something like that. I mean, there's other things taking it to you pretty much are supposed to know everything about your child with this app. It will alert you when their algorithms detect risks that you can check in and make sure everything is okay. So, pretty much like a prison warden. Beta Wolf. So, Beta Wolf, let me introduce you to the Bark phone. Ding! There you go. $49 a month for a hacked Samsung phone. So there you go. I mean, it's like, buy the Pegasus phone from NSO. I'm gonna allow that, Beta Wolf. God damn it! I forgot about the chat bot. Okay, yeah, $49 a month, and you have all that shit baked right into your Samsung POS phone. So yeah, there you go. But your kids are safe, right? A kid's phone that doesn't look like a kid's phone. Okay, great. Yeah, no kid ever does this. Look, Mom, let's watch TikTok together. Derp. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's ringing my doorbell. Yeah. So yeah, it's ugly. So there's a FAQ on their site. You can download it. It's iOS and Android device. So, you can put it on your Mac OS or your iPhone. I mean, you can actually block your children, too much screen time. Okay. Go to bed, whatever. I'm actually surprised there's not a locator. Oh shit. Okay. Well, I actually was not joking about that, but yeah. Okay. So they have location sharing. So you can actually figure out where they are at all times of the day. Now, I will tell you, I have that on our phones. Me, my wife, and my daughter, we all have the Find My Device on my phone. Now, I'll tell you why. My daughter, when she was younger, had no propriety about coming home. 8 o'clock at night, we're trying to figure out where she is. We'd give her a watch with an alarm on it. It's like 8 o'clock, you need to come home and have dinner. I'd have to go find her. The alarm wouldn't work on her watch. We gave her a phone. We could call her. She would put it on silent and it wouldn't work. Finally, it was like, we're going to have to do something so that we can call you or that you'll pay attention to your damn phone. So me, my wife, and myself all have the Find My on our devices, so that it will override her silencing of the phone. Now that she's 17, probably should take it off of her phone. But there's been a couple times where I've lost my phone, and the Find My has actually been helpful in finding the phone, even though it was at the house or something. I mean, we were completely upfront with it. That's about the only monitoring that we've ever done where it was like, hey, where's Maggie? And when the Find My works, she gets a little notification on her phone. Hey, somebody's looking for you. Or, your phone has been located, that kind of thing. So it wasn't like we were hiding it. And we never actually, the only time we ever used it was when we, wanted her to come home and, we call and call and call, nothing happens. But, I've also used it myself. So there's actually, for us, a legitimate need, in that case. Yep. Okay. So, Beta Wolf, the ability to log the location on somebody is still somewhat creepy. I mean, the only difference is I don't know if Bark actually lets your child know, hey, your parents are watching what you're surfing on the web, or hey, your parents are watching where your location is, or something like that. Yeah, see, oh man, that is, ew. Tommy has arrived at school. Jesus, lady. I mean, yeah, Jesus, I didn't even see that example. That is, ugh. Okay, yeah, that's as the kids say, cringy, or cringe. Yeah, private. So the FAQs, they talk about, I think I'd mentioned to the person on Mastodon about, they said, well, can't they just change their passwords? And I was like, oh, child's data secure. Yeah, security. Yeah, sure. Paramount. Yeah, whatever. Do I need to jailbreak or root the phones? No, because you're going to give them access to everything on the phone by logging in when it asks you for permissions. Or was it? Yeah, let's refer your Karen-y friends to everything. Where was it? It was something like, hey, what happens if they uninstall it or something like that? There was, child enacted 90. In short, if you add a child under 13, we're not legally allowed to provide our services unless we have verifiable parental consent in the form of a credit card added to your account, which occurs during the onboarding process. Never mind the children's consent. Parental consent, if you're installing it, of course you're going to be giving, Oh. Okay. Sounds good. Hey, there's something at the door. Somebody knocked on the door. Yeah. My wife sends me messages. Is it for me? Ah. My wife got the Prince Harry book. So yeah, of course they're going to give legal consent to the parents because the parents are going to want this on the machines, right? Right. The Beta Wolf, thank you. Thank you. I didn't actually think of that, but yes, while one can be used wrongly, the other one is wrong at default. Yes, and of course my daughter, when I hit the Find My or whatever, usually what happens is when I use the Find My, the first phone automatically gets looked for, and I think hers is first on that list, which and then she gets a notification. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I was looking for your mother's phone or, whatever. So, we all get pinged, right? So that happens. But where was that? Oh, yes. What if my child uninstalls Bark? Okay, so if the kid's like, oh, I don't want this shit on my phone, you get alerted if your child uninstalls it. And I think if they change their passwords, I think it also screws it up, and you get a notification that, hey, your child's phone is being tampered with. You can also monitor deleted texts. Oh, great. Yeah, this is a fucking nightmare. I look forward to seeing this one in the news. Yeah, not good times. Not good times. So anyway, Yes, parents who snoop on their child's private conversation should be ashamed of themselves. It seems like a security nightmare. Yeah, I mean, the only respite the kid would have would be to turn their phone off, right? Like physically power it off and go and hang out with their friends some other way. So, um, yeah, I don't know about. So this person also asked about, is there a way for kids to route around the dystopian monitoring? I think if you're stuck in that kind of hell, like Aaron said, your only option is probably get a burner phone. Um, and yes, it's shocking how many parents feel entitled to violate their children's privacy or trust in this way. Um, yeah. High school students run alt accounts with their real posts and put some generic stuff on their names accounts. Oh, okay. Yeah, don't underestimate the power of a determined child trying to get around laptop filtering or controls put into place. Yeah. So yeah, as a parent infosec, this seems sketchy as this seems sketchy as hell. People are skittish at health tracking apps due to post-Dobbs risks of data being accessible, but let's give a third party access to all your kids' social media apps, etc. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Beta Wolf, I can imagine some origin stories being coming from, I got my start trying to, get around some kind of parental monitoring that my shithead parents put on my phone. Or the school had put a bunch of stuff for MDM on the school laptops, and we spent a lot of time trying to get around that. So I could definitely see that being the springboard, if you will, to a career in information security or IT. So yeah. I'm not gonna go that far with that person, but I could definitely see that kind of thing. So but yeah, I mean it also brings in like I don't feel safe at home, especially if you realize that somebody's monitoring your phone, you're going to be talking to someone else or whatever. So uh, but like I said, if you replace child with significant other, spouse, ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-partner, um, ex-dog, I don't know, you're running into the same kind of arguments where it's like you're no longer child monitoring, you're just being a creepy person, and you should feel bad. Um, okay, so there's been a couple things come out recently about LastPass, Circle CI, secrets inside of your code. GitHub is making it apparently easier to root out security flaws in your source code. So they're working on systems to help discover security vulnerabilities in flight or in Sitch. They're making use of CodeQL, which is GitHub's semantic code analysis engine, probably using ChatGPT, uh, to scan code for vulnerabilities and creating custom YAML files which direct the engine to scan repositories at specified intervals, which is a great idea. The one thing I wonder about is, okay, you have a GitHub repo, the code has been scanned, maintainers under security heading, security analysis. Ladder lets developers set up CodeQL scanning manually, and they can skip the manual setup. Okay, but what happens when CodeQL finds a vulnerability? Will work in the background to detect security and notify developers of these flaws. So is it a pull request or I don't know. Becomes a legal case real quick. Okta, right. Beta Wolf, I think Okta was Slack. I think was also mentioned. Somebody gained access to their repos as well. And there was also another one just recently. JSON Web Token, I think, was another one. I think I put that in our Discord here. Let me see. Oh yeah, well that one's not new. They're using Chat GPT for owning up things. Oh, identity thieves bypassing Experian security to view credit reports. That was another one that came up. I don't like Krebs on security, but that one came up as well. Yeah, we're right out the gate, ain't we, Beta Wolf? So yeah, So yeah, so code QL will notify the developers of these flaws. I'm assuming that's somehow in the workflow to add like an issue or, you know, uh, I would hope it's not like an email saying, hey, by the way, we found this vulnerability. It needs to probably fit into the workflow somehow. So hopefully that's what we see there. um, I love these notes my wife leaves me. She stuck it under my door. Developers can then address detected vulnerabilities accordingly and hopefully before threat actors manage to exploit them. My wonder is what happens if the developer gets notified of the vulnerability and decides not to do anything about it. Can GitHub? I would see. I would imagine at some point GitHub is going to. I wouldn't say name and shame, but they may have. I can imagine something like on the front of the GitHub repo saying, the current version of this has vulnerabilities according to code QL. I guess it would depend on the false positive rate on that. Chat GPT valuation. No, I did not. I'm betting it's like 150 Brazilian dollars. Yeah, there you go. 29 billion valuation. Sure. I mean, they're just champing at the bit, ain't they? mm. Yep. Yep. Yeah, Lady P. Oh, hey, Lady P. Hey, it's good to have you back. I'm hoping you're okay. California is a bit soggy right now, and if you're in Tahoe, you're under 10 foot of snow apparently. So, $29 million valuation. Man, I don't know. So for those of you who aren't aware, Joe Gray, good friend of the show, been on our chat. We've had him on several times. Did an hour-long training today about using Chat GPT. Where was that? I will post a link. I'm not sure where his whole site, the Ascension, he does a lot of training and stuff. So if you're up on the OPSEC and you want to learn some social engineering and human and gathering intelligence and OPSEC stuff, without being creepy like Hadnegi, go and check out Joe Gray's stuff. So he's a good person. Definitely has more scruples than Hadnegi does. So that's probably going to get me a cease and desist, but it's okay. Fuck him. Again, that might also get me a that might also get me a CND. But yeah, so it was an idea to provide an overview of ChatGPT, explore the best practices for using it to maximize your OPSEC. So using ChatGPT in this case to actually collect OSINT on people in a legal manner. Yeah, Joe does a lot of great stuff. He's got his Ascension Discord as well. If you're interested in going checking that out, invite. I will post an invite to the chat here, the Discord chat. I've been, yeah, okay, probably. Sorry, I'm still learning how to use this stuff. I don't know if I actually need to see. I guess nobody's looking at it on YouTube, but that's okay. I'm just trying to get everything straightened out and stable on that before it goes pear-shaped. Yeah, Lady P. Oh my God, we have some friends in Santa Barbara that had to evacuate because basically their house flooded. We called our renters are doing okay down in San Diego, but even they're getting a ton of rain that they don't normally get this time of year. And yeah, I mean, when I would say when it rains it pours, but that doesn't seem like a very good thing to say right now. And I just hope that you're okay and that you stay safe, at least up in Sacktown there. So yeah, they're gonna be having that for a little while longer. So yeah, San Fran's got no rain right now, but let me see, 92126. Come on. There we go. San Diego. That's on or around where I'm going to be living in the new place. So there. They're going to get a bunch of rain later this week as well. An inch of rain in San Diego at one time is huge, and they're going to get probably about 2 inches of rain in the next 4 days. So good times. Yeah, I mean they were talking about cyclones that were just coming through wave after wave after wave. So hopefully that'll do something to the snowpack. But unfortunately, getting too much rain at one time, flash floods, landslides. We had quite a few trees down here. We had 45, 50 mile an hour winds or 80 kilometer, 90 kilometer winds up here in where I live. Knocked trees down, fences busted. I heard a gunshot, which probably was a tree not falling down. Just horrendous. Crazy ass weather. So the other thing that got me, let's do the PLCs. So they had to remind people that in 2009, a computer worm called Stuxnet crippled uranium centrifuges in the Iran's uranium enrichment facility. And the exploited PLCs, were made by Siemens and were all models of a Simatic S7 product series. So a decade later, S7's got more vulnerabilities in it, and can be exploited by an attacker to silently install firmware on the devices and take full control of them. This is coming from Wired. I believe it came out today. So that's bad. This is, and because the downswing on this is they're not going to patch it yet. I don't think they can right now. They say the vulnerability stems from a basic error in how cryptography is implemented, but Siemens can't fix it through a software patch because the scheme is physically burned into the chips, into the crypto chips. As a result, Siemens has no way or no fixed plan for any of the PLCs that the company lists as being vulnerable. So at this point, you can't patch it, so you're going to have to mitigate it. They do say the vulnerability does require physical access to exploit, so customers should mitigate the threat by assessing the risk of physical access to the device in the target deployment area. I don't know, Lady P. Let me see. What? Shut up, guy over there. As the researchers point out, the vulnerability could potentially be chained with other remote access vulnerabilities on the same network to deliver malicious firmware without in-person contact. Oh, well, that's fine. I'm sure they're not running anything important. Yeah, encrypted firmware. Separate crypto cores are very rudimentary chip, not like a big processor, so it doesn't really know who's talking to or what's going on in the broader context. So what it sounds like is this is where I think sometimes we forget when we're doing threat modeling or we're doing system architecture design things. It's not like cross-site scripting issues. It's like, is there any boundary or any gateway keeping that information from going somewhere? If you send a data through an API and there's nothing saying, that you can't send that data through, like an authorization or an authentication level, or if you're 2 levels deep in your architecture and any data that comes from the front site automatically goes to the app layer or the middle layer of your 3-layer design. If there's nothing in between these two, it's an explicit trust, whereas on the front end where you might have, authentication mechanisms and MFA and all this stuff, once you get past this barrier, everything is trusted from here on in, right? Which is why, they ask you to architect things properly. Crypto chips need not be aware of anything above them. They need to be at the lowest level. That's fair. But basically say, if you tell it the right things that you observe, the processor will talk to you as if you are the processor. So there you go, Lady P. The crypto chip just does the crypto. It doesn't care. It's just going to keep, handing out things, entropy or whatever the hell it's supposed to do. So we can get in between the processor and the crypto core and then basically tell it, hey, we're the processor. We're going to give you some data. We want you to encrypt it. And the little crypto core isn't going to do anything. It just does it. Right. So there's no trust boundary between the crypto core and the processor. So the processor can just keep sending it data all day. And the crypto core is just like, okay, encrypt, 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 encrypt. So whatever this vulnerability is allows somebody to impersonate the processor and tell it to do something else. To what end, though? I'm trying to figure that out. You tell it you're the processor and you have data for it to encrypt, and it just does it. So what are you doing with that? Since it's signing the BIOS images, not even BIOS code can affect it. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whatever's burnt in the chip, that's pretty much a one-way door, right? You can't go back from that. S7 should not be able to re-encrypt firmware for other S7s. You know what? If you can encrypt something, could you also have somebody impersonating the processor and say, decrypt this data? I would imagine you could, right? I mean, if the crypto processor's just encrypting and decrypting all the things, you could, right, also signing malicious images, or, hey, I'm the processor, run this firmware because I'm the processor, haha. But there's nothing authenticating between the two to, it's not, what is it, non-repudiation? Yeah, the crypto chip doesn't care if this is the processor or not. It's just getting stuff, right? So while Siemens isn't directly releasing any fixes, the company says it's in the process of releasing a new generation processor to fix the vulnerability. Okay, so, that is interesting. So they can't fix the crypto chip because it's burned in, obviously, but they're going to fix the processor. So what can they fix on the processor? That's interesting. Working on new versions, remaining PLC types to address this vulnerability completely. So they're going to have they're going to go from Rev D to Rev E or something like that. And there's going to be a bunch of Rev Ds that haven't been sold yet that, yeah, you can pick this up. You can use our stuff. We'll have it super discounted for you, knowing that it is, publicly vulnerable. But you could use version E, which has this vulnerability fixed. And so here's how it's going to be. They want to get rid of all the additional vulnerable processor PLC issues, right? Let's say they have a Rev D version out there that's knowingly vulnerable. This is the Rev D version. They're going to roll the Rev E version, which has all this fix in it. Problem is, the Rev E version is going to be it's going to be more expensive than the Rev D version, right? Because it's brand new. It costs money to gen up this issue and fix it. So there's going to be a bunch of Rev D stuff still sitting in a warehouse somewhere that they got to get rid of because it's a loss, right? It's sunk cost. There's going to be a fire sale on Rev D PLCs. Knowingly vulnerable. You can buy our Rev E version, which is, top of the line, best of the breed. It doesn't have this vulnerability, for $25 per PLC. I don't know what the actual costs are. Or you can get these Rev D versions for $10 a piece. Which one do you think the new companies are going to buy? You said Rev E. Pack your bags, you're going home. They should be writing it down. Selling it should expose everyone involved to negligence. You're absolutely right, Lady P. You and I will have some adult beverages one day, and we can talk about how I might know something like this actually happens on the reg. But that's what's going to happen. The Rev D vulnerable versions are going to get a fire sale price, and companies are going to be like, we don't give a shit. We're good. And technically, because assuming they don't have any vulnerabilities they can chain with the PLC processor, with the PLCs and the processors there, and you are maintaining your physical environment, you could potentially get away with that. But yeah, yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, it happens. It happens. Um, yeah, exactly. And you know what? If they can get rid of those vulnerable versions without, I'm sure they probably they might give them away at cost. But they'll do that. They will. So yeah. Uh, so yeah, that's something to look at if you love yourself some hardware stuff. It might. I don't know if you can even buy them. I assume you could probably find them on Fleabay. Let me go see S7 1500 models. I don't know how much they cost. I'm sure they're not. There we go. How much are they? Find a contact. Okay. They're a German company, so they should, respect me. Good luck finding a working one. Okay. Let's go. Oh, dang your hide. There we go. Here's a CPU for one. It's all in German and shit. Oh yeah, here you go. Oh, good God. Okay, they're a little expensive. Oh gods. Yeah. So okay, here's one for 2,500, but that's the CPU. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, like what the hell? Oh, okay. I don't know what the hell happened there, but oh, you rat bastard. Fucking computers, how do they work? You know what I mean? Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, here's one for 2,500 bucks. This is the CPU. I don't think it includes the PLC part, but used and working. Okay. Let's go see. Oh, there you go. 346 bucks. That's the S200. Here's the S7. Okay, so there you go. 5,000. 3,900. There you go. Hello, Dr. Crossfield. Welcome. We're talking about the Siemens vulnerability that apparently the processor and the crypto chip inside, there's no controls into them. So they can, vulns discovered in the Siemens controller logic, a la. So don't adjust your screen, Dr. Crossfield, 2009. Stuxnet is not. This is not from 2009. This is, from this week. So. So I was just wondering if it was possible to look up and buy a PLC, potentially vulnerable PLC from Siemens, and apparently it might be possible depending on the type. So they're not cheap, but it is a thing. So, and you get a DIN rail. I don't know what that is, but it's got a scratched up screen on it. Got a scratched up screen. So yeah. My inner 12-year-old is having a field day right now. Beetlejuice, you don't need a PLC. No. But yeah. So bad times there for the Siemens folks. They're mostly indestructible. Okay. Is a set of mounting standards. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Red Balloon Security apparently is the folks who did that. Say it would be possible for Siemens to release a firmware audit tool for any PLC to check whether there's been a tampering on the device. Okay, so it's a tampering thing. I wonder what that means. No, Beta Wolf. Save up for a house or something. That's an order. Go buy your Think Center for your Docker, farm or what have you. There you go. So yeah, depending on what version of the S7 1500 is there, but they say should not be able to re-encrypt firmware from other S7s. It's a fundamental design flaw. Oh, okay. So it sounds like without telling us that's what they're doing. The S7s are re-encrypting the firmware for other S7s. So if you have an S7, you can re-encrypt firmware that may hold evil shit. Right? That's what it sounds like. And I think, Lady P, that may have been what you were trying to talk about earlier with um, uh, signing malicious images, signing malicious. I didn't see that part on the article, so that makes perfect sense. Why the processor is sending data to the crypto, which would be, hey, we have some firmware, we need you to re-encrypt it and sign it, make it legit, because there's a key burnt into the crypto chip, making everything legit. That's added at the time of manufacture, and provisioned accordingly. Yeah. So, yeah, good times there. Good times there. So yeah, if you want to have a black hat talk, go grab yourself an S7 1500 and show that how easy it is to crack that thing open. Wouldn't be the worst stunt hacking in the world that they're doing over there. So I'm actually surprised to not see more bids on some of these, knowing this is a vulnerability. Might be interesting to watch this in the next couple days to see if there's any uptick in the number of devices. So, so there's different numbers. There's different numbers here. So this one, is this just like this ain't the model number. This would be the type number, like 6ES7. Because this one down here starts with 7ES7. Are those the different types or the different editions? So like this would be the 6th edition of the S7. This is the 7th edition of the S7. This one actually looks like a different form factor too. Unless this is just, really blown up picture of the yeah. Very cool. Yeah, here's another 6ES7, 6ES7. I'm thinking that's 6th edition of the S7. 6th edition S7, and this is like the number of it, the serial number or whatever, so that people know it. They can look it up and see if it's a legit version. But yeah, this is only a CPU module. This one is the entire PLC up here, it looks like. So anywho, yeah, good stuff there. So GitHub, okay, we talked about that one. So it's a sad week for everybody. If you're running Windows 7 or Windows 8, go to Windows 10 or 11. What's this? What's the? I'm clicking on links of people that. There we go. Okay. It's all in fancy language. I can't understand. I'm gonna assume this is deny. I can't read words. Am I having a stroke? Oh no, it's German. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah. I probably just signed up for email alerts. No, it's okay, Dr. Crossfield. I'll work my way through it here. Let me translate to English. There we go. Frequently, it was like I can't understand stuff. So we have, yeah, there we go. Oh, they're not as big as I thought. Okay, that's okay. Reading German and having, oh no, Lady Fee, yeah. I love Germany. I've been to Germany. We were actually planning on going there in Christmas of next year, but I love the words because it's like cognates. It's like when you read a word in Spanish and it's like, oh, or Latin or Greek or whatever, and it's like, oh, you can pretty much understand what it is because the root is like, somnus or something. Oh, it has something to do with sleep or sleepwalking or what have you. The German one is like they shove a bunch of stuff together, like lawn tractors is Landen Trachtenen or some weird stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I recognize what that is. So I love the Germany stuff. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So that one is, how much is this one? 2,000 euro. So probably around the same amount, right? 2,000 euro. How much is 2,000 euro? $2,224.78 currently from the US dollar. So there you go. Cool. Yeah. Good stuff. So yeah, a lot of interesting things there. So it is a sad week. Windows 7 and Windows 8 going to lose support. Their ESUs, their extended security updates are going away. And then Windows 8 and 8.1 on January 10th. So that's tomorrow. Um, so, um, yeah, move to Windows 10 and Windows 11. You got Windows 10, I think, until 2025. So that's pretty good. I'm still going to be limping along on this box until I can upgrade to Windows 11 on a proper box because I don't have a TPM in this chip. So yeah, the other one is a very sad day for anybody using Windows Server 2008 or 2012. 2008 ends on the 14th of January, and I saw that on Twitter. Somebody was like, "Oh no, what are companies going to do if they're still on Windows 2008 and they're about to go out?" And I was like, "It extended support ended years ago. I mean, our regular support ended years ago, and you're paying out the ass for extended support." So I'm like, plan to fail, right? Or fail to plan is plan to fail. So you need to think about these things, right? Not from a IT or what? I'm doing something here. Um, yeah, Dr. Crossfield, you're right. I mean, I'm sure there's still organizations using 2008, but it just bought one second. No, you got to pay the piper now. You got to pay the piper now. No, you're going to be on the internet. Yes, you're going to be on the internet. Yeah, I know. You tell them. Yeah. Do you like Windows Server 2008? No, not a fan. So yeah, I mean, they got to plan better for that. It you can't. 2008 wasn't even created last decade. I mean, we're looking at something that's almost 2 decades old. And yeah, exactly. Meow. This is Mama Kitty. Her name is Snowball, but we've never called her Snowball. She's always Mama Kitty because she's the mother of our two other children, our furry children. Yes, you're so pretty. Yes. Um, but yeah, somebody buried, wow. The register didn't mention, I don't think they mentioned server 2008 or 2012 in the article here. So they also mentioned that like Chrome is going to, do you want to get down? Okay. Oh no, they did. Well, they mentioned Microsoft Edge last versions in 2008 R2, but they didn't mention the loss of support there. Sometimes she sits outside the door and just yowls, and it's like, you should let me in. You should let me in. And then when I let her in, she wants to be let out. So I just give her some love until she goes. But yeah, so your browsers are going to go out of support. Your web views are going to go away. Yeah, Dr. Cross. Yeah. Yeah, cloud first isn't desirable everywhere. I mean, there are going to be some niche places like that, but you've even, in these environments, you cannot we cannot be holding on to old ass OSs forever. When you're negotiating contracts for software, you have to look at, vendor support, and it's like, you know, I hate using the word just. There has to be agreements in your vendors to, do you allow for major software upgrades? And I'm sure that there's some MRI out there that's running on Windows 7 that, oh, we can't update it because we don't know how to use this. We just push the green button and it, does a CAT scan of somebody's head or some shit like that. There's not a single Nike product at his house. What? It's a bit of a non sequitur there, Beta Wolf. Did I miss something? Oh, yeah, I actually, yeah, I mean, I have my Chargers gear on, but um, yeah, yeah, I'm sure there are organizations out there that are like, the problem is they're not going to upgrade to 11. They're going to upgrade from 7 to 10. And then in 3 years, they're going to be in this whole bullshit all over again. And it seems like, I don't know if it's like, well, in 3 years, I'm not going to be here, so I don't have to worry about this. And then 3 years goes by and they're like, oh shit, I should have, now we're up a creek. Oh, we'll update to 11, because Windows 12 and 13 will be here. DIN modules are standard sizes. There. It is just do it. Yes, Beta Wolf. I haven't seen a module more than 1 DIN tall. Most. What? Is that a mistell? I don't know what I'm missing here. So, it just seemed, I advocated for this. I was working for a defense contractor, and I believe we were like using Red Hat 3 at the time, and it was going end of life. And I was like, Red Hat 5 is out. We should go to Red Hat 5. And they're like, oh, well, really can't, spend the time and effort to go to 5, skipping a version. We can't do that. We'll probably just upgrade to 4. And I was like, and in 18 months, we're going to have to spend months fixing the issues when 4 goes end of life to go to 5. And I was like, we can spend the months now, or we can spend the months now and then. And, it just sucks. I just see how companies struggle with upgrades all the time in industrial environments. From safety perspective, bigger problems are software providers for those components. Yeah, 100%. Had to call the dogs and then hit return. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Incremental upgrades just doesn't do anybody any good, right? Those companies are like, well, we'll get to Windows 10 and we'll survive for another 2 years or whatever. You can go to 11. You might as well try to fix the issues that are going from 7 or 8 to 11 than trying to go to 10 and then having to deal with that shit later on. Stumbling from version to version is not a good way of doing things, but it's it's hard to quantify that, right? It's hard to say, well, what's the level. At the time we were doing this with Red Hat, I was just a simple security person, and there were people obviously higher up than me that wasn't listening to this. And of course, I'm not working there anymore, so I don't give a shit. But it was it was definitely, it seemed logical, but they just didn't want to do it. And it wasn't like, you were, there wasn't anything Windows 10 like, it's not like there was something that was in Windows 7 or 8 that wasn't in 10 or 11. It's almost like Windows has gotten better to update with. I mean, hell, I installed Windows 10 on this box, transferred the hard drive to that box, and it booted up with no problems, no errors, no nothing. Still a nice trick that you're able to do. And it just takes a little time and effort. I mean, they could put if Windows 11 ran on this, and it doesn't, but if you could put Windows 11 on a box to test the software with it. Yeah. No, I already let you in. Oh, hey, Papal. That's the other kid. But yeah. So good times. Especially if you're still running, Exchange 5.5 on your server 2008 box, you should feel bad. You should feel real bad. When I started here 7 years ago, I tore out all the not Windows 10 possible. It was my first security project. That left 6 years ago to get rid of everything that couldn't be updated. 6 years. Seems like that should be enough time. So what you're saying is start getting off of Windows 10 now and go to Windows 11. And if you have anything on 7 and 8, get off of that and get on 11. Because at least 11 is going to be updated for the next 5 or 6 years, right? I was wondering, would it make more sense if you needed long-term support to ask vendors if they have No, Lady P. I think Vista. I think Windows 8 and 8.1 were like the Windows MEs for us older people. Windows ME. It was like it was here, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's gone. You know, it was like, oh shit, we really screwed up with Windows 8. Let's push out 10 real quick and not pooch it. They get curious. So, would it make sense does to ask organizations or vendors to support a Linux build? Or, does your what happens if you're running, a vendor says, well, we run on Windows 7. And you're like, well, what happens when we go to Windows 8? And they're like, well, we don't have a good answer for you. Or, we're trying to make a sale, so we're going to lie to you. What are people's options at that point? I mean, yeah, I mean, everyone says, when these go into life, I'm just going to have to get rid of them because I can't run Windows 11 on them. I mean, I can. It's just causes problems. But yeah, it's like this will run Linux. I can put Ubuntu on this and it'll run for 10 years. We're spending our efforts getting away from Windows. MS is going to go to OS as a cloud service. I'm not really interested in that game. That's not the first time I've heard that, where it's like, when they were talking about what Longhorn was going to be, which I think was Windows 7, they were talking about turning it into a subscription-only OS. Where it was like, you're going to have to pay a monthly fee, and there was a bunch of wailing and gnashing and fudding. They've straight out said that's the goal. Oh, okay. Well, they've had to kick that can down the road, Lady P, for a while, because Windows 7 was supposed to be when that was supposed to happen, and here we're at 11 already. So, yeah, Windows, Microsoft is no longer, I think, an OS company. I still stand by this. I actually think they're going to open source Windows one day. Oh, there you go. Yeah, why they've added WSL. I actually see, because at this point, all they need to do is replace the Windows kernel with Linux, right? And I bet they could do it realistically. I bet there's some internal builds that people are running right. Windows will just be instead of Windows or Linux for Windows, it's going to be Windows for Linux, and it's just going to be the binaries that are going to run in Linux. Kind of like Wine, almost like Wine, right? I was thinking about that. I was just trying to figure out if Wine, because I didn't want to actually say something and be an idiot, but I actually thought they did add WSL. I use it way more than I originally thought I would. Yeah, I do too, especially since they've added a graphical user interface. The newer versions on Windows 11 will run a literal desktop. So that's nice too. But yeah, I see. Yeah, Lady P, I'm thinking it's going to be very similar to Wine or like reverse Samba or reverse NFS. So the Windows stuff will run on Linux more fully. And it would make sense if they just bought Wine or, worked with them similar to Samba and made Wine more robust and able to run things. I think the last frontier there is everybody's going to be running a Linux kernel before it's over with. Like how Google won the browser wars, Linux is eventually going to be on the desktop. So, yeah. All right. So I'm gonna do this. So this was the message my wife gave me. Going to Mexican shop at 4:45. It is now 9 minutes till. So I promised us we'll get to the Golang, but that won't be today because there was actually some news that came out after the fact. But so in case you want to learn Golang with me, we'll do it on Friday. So here's the links that I'm working on. We'll start with the constants. I'd like to thank Beta Wolf for the free Go book. And of course, there's go.dev. So you can go and check that out. Even my Microsoft Surface works on Linux. Yeah, was it B-Side San Diego? No, it was a B-Side Seattle, and somebody was running it on they were running it on a Surface 3, as a matter of fact. I have a Surface 3. I think the thing think the person works at Google, I think, and he said the only issue it has is the Wi-Fi chip does not work in the Surface 3. Other than that, everything else works. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. I mean, I got a Wi-Fi dongle right here. So I just pop that bad boy in and yeah. Yeah, Beta Wolf, I mean, people were surprised that Linux was, Microsoft was one of the biggest contributors to open source at the time. And I think they are playing that long game. So Surface that runs CentOS. Yeah, I wanted to get rid of. I actually got rid of a Surface 4 during the pandemic first started. They were doing donations for kids who needed technology, so I gave up my Surface 4 and we kept the Surface 3 because my daughter was using it. And then I upgraded her and took this away from her and gave her a better PC. And it's great. I mean, I take it with me on travel, and it's nice and small. And I streamed a high definition football game on it when we were in Arkansas, and yeah, it's nice. So, I'll leave you with this. As surprised by no one, Chat GPT is being used for malicious intent. Weird. And identity thieves are bypassing Experian's security portal to be able to view credit reports, which Krebs verified with another person who I believe worked for, let me see, multiple victims. Yeah. Senator Wyden said the FTC and Consumer Protection Bureaus are not watching the credit bureaus. Oh yeah, so asked a close friend and security source to verify their identity. Experian. So yeah, I mean the Krebs had somebody verify that was the case. You can go check that out if you want to view your credit reports. And then of course, as Beta Wolf had mentioned, ChatGPT had a $29 billion valuation going from a nonprofit to an IPO. So we'll see what that's going to do for us in the next 3 years. If we're all going to be made obsolete, and we'll have better chatbots on support. So, all right, I'll be back on Friday. Thank you all for hanging out. Dr. Crossfield, thank you so much for being here. Lady P, Beta Wolf, go grab yourself a Lenovo box and let me know how it works out for you. The one I got refurbished from that, the link that I put up, Beta Wolf, didn't have an antenna. So I actually had to put a Wi-Fi external alpha Wi-Fi antenna on the box, but it has Ethernet if you just want to use Ethernet. So just a heads up. I don't know if it's the same seller who will be sending it to you, but just a heads up on that. So, all right, I'm going to go. Have a great day. Be careful, be safe, stay afloat, Lady P. Appreciate you and stay safe. And we'll have a good day and see you soon. Bye.